Hello lovers, welcome to the Butterfly Effect podcast hosted by myself, Lauren Amy. This is for those who are ready to take up space, who are living a soft life loudly and are ready to savor the sweetness in each moment. Here we're going to embrace transformation, the beauty of the in-between and the magic of becoming. So pull up a seat and listen in because life is delicious and it's about goddamn time we eat it up. All right, let's get it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, stunners. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. I am going to be completely honest here. It's taken me a lot to get here. I actually don't quite know how. I'm currently sat here in front of the camera with my microphone attached to me with my studio light going, recording. I actually don't know how I've got here, but I'm here. And holy moly, we're having one of those days, probably one of those weeks, and I know exactly what it is, where motivation is nowhere to be found. It's just fluttered away somewhere. And I am sat here just feeling like I want to hide away from the world a little bit. Now, I know this probably isn't a super inspiring start to the podcast, and you probably tuned into this thinking like, oh yes, this is going to give me that needed uplift today. This is going to pick me up, and I promise it will. It'll get there. I'm just slowly warming up. Give me time. Just need another cup of tea, and maybe I'll get there, but I will get there. But my God, it's one of those weeks, and I was thinking about the podcast, and I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about then? How am I going to pick this energy up? How am I going to deliver to the people what they need? You know, my people need me. We gotta keep going. We gotta keep moving forwards. And I think what's needed today is this acceptance that we aren't always, not every day is a sleigh, okay? We aren't always at the top of our game, and that is okay, all right? I'm certainly not at the top of my game today. And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. As I say, I know exactly why it is. It's because I'm back in that luteal phase. I feel like I was in my luteal phase like yesterday. Well, obviously I was, but like I feel like I've just come out of luteal phase, had like maybe like a week's reprieve, maybe a couple of days reprieve, and I'm just straight back into it. Honestly, I can't take female hormones sometimes. I had this conversation with a friend this past week. I sometimes feel like I'm 4 different women within a month, and I don't know who I'm going to be each day. Like I'm waking up like, who am I today? Am I that pink little pixie ready to frolic and skip about her day, or am I this ugly slug just trying to slime her way through? My goodness, I feel this even more so since starting. Well, it's almost like it gets even more potent every month. So I do want to bring this to the podcast a little bit because I do feel like it's quite an interesting topic. I get questions about this every so often. So I made the decision a good few years ago now. It's probably coming up to maybe like 4 or 5 years. I can't really remember. Where I made the decision to come off all hormonal contraception because I decided I didn't really know myself anymore. And it took a little bit of time. There was a lot of adjusting going on where my hormones were just, I don't think even they knew where they were at, right? And obviously it was like having to relearn and actually allowing my cycle to naturally establish itself. It definitely took a bit of time. So in being off all hormonal contraception, I finally feel the full 4 phases of my cycle. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it feels like I've got freaking whiplash. So you go straight to ovulation and you're just like, woohoo, life is fun, life is magical, it's sparkling, I'm ready to skip, dance around, and then bam, luteal phase. And it's just like you suddenly come to a standstill and you're just like, why can't I keep going? Why can't I push through this? Why can't I keep this high energy? Why can't I continue frolicking around the gaff? And then obviously your period hits, you hit that menstrual phase and you're like, that is why. And I don't know why I'm surprised each and every single time. Every month this comes around. I'm like, you know why this is, Lauren. You know why you're like down in the dumps a little bit. You know your period's about to come. But it's like, why? Why does this have to happen to me? I'm a good person. Why am I struck down with this? It's probably the most frustrating thing. But what I will say about the whole cyclical living is that I have no regrets about it. I will never go back to any kind of hormonal contraception at all because, like I said, I know the 4 phases of my cycle now. I feel them so much more. I mean, I did have this, I had this conversation with a friend where I was like, do I need to be concerned? Because sometimes I feel like I could be like a manic depressive or something, where like the highs feel so high and sometimes the lows can feel really low. And I was like, do I need to be concerned? And I don't think I do. I think I'm all right. But sometimes it's just, as I say, it's literally like whiplash, okay? That's where we're at today. Literally anything could happen in the next 20 minutes or so, however long I end up waffling for. Anything could happen. I might decide to full on rage quit. I don't know. Honestly, there's a lot. There's a lot. Okay, so we're just meeting ourselves where we're at, okay? We're meeting ourselves exactly as we are. And I know I say this time and time again. Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit of a broken record kind of repeating things, but we all need to hear it, okay? And also I need to hear this right now, okay? Not every day is a sleigh, and we're just meeting ourselves where we're at. And if we're feeling a little bit like an ugly slug today, it's all right. It's only temporary. I'll be frolicking around again before we know it. One thing I did do today, just to kind of like make me less slug-like and more butterfly-like, is I topped the pink up in my hair, so she's feeling a little bit more fabulous. Okay, so that's one thing. So I'm meeting myself where I'm at today. Where are you guys meeting yourself at today? How are you feeling? Okay, are you also somewhat in the luteal menstrual phase where it feels like, I don't know, the world is ending and you suddenly get this craving to like quit your job and completely uproot your life and make some dramatic changes? Is it just me? Is it just me that gets that? Okay. Or are you, I don't know, maybe you're feeling a little bit fun and flirty in that ovulation phase? Or are you in that follicular phase when you're just feeling super creative? Okay. Where are we at? And whether you're on hormonal contraception or not, taking the time to understand your hormones can be a real powerful thing. I know I have like a very wide range of ages listening to this, but understanding your hormones is another way of understanding yourself and connecting to yourself. So when you reach those moments where you hit this phase where suddenly things do feel lacking and there's a lack of energy or there's a lack of inspiration, motivation, when you actually understand that it's most likely your hormones, it's like, okay, cool. I'm fine. I'm all good. I don't need to make any dramatic changes here. I don't need to do anything differently. I just need to meet myself where I'm at. So that's what I kind of wanted to bring to the podcast in this episode, okay? When I was setting up to record this episode, I was thinking, okay, what energy are we going to bring? What are we going to discuss? And it's like I was having to give myself the pep talk before the pep talk, you know what I mean? I was having to like hype myself up a little bit, and I started to feel that little spark come through. So I was like, okay, let's go. If you'd asked me to sit down and record a podcast episode maybe like half an hour earlier, I'd have been like, you know what? Absolutely not. But we're here, okay? We are here, we're recording, it's all good, it's all groovy, everything is temporary, everything is in motion, everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to, even though I know that at some point the floodgates are going to open and it's going to feel like I've been punched in the gut, but it's okay. The beauty of being a woman. So in the spirit of just kind of meeting ourselves where we're at, I really want you guys to actually take an opportunity to really think about where you're at right now. Not just in the typical surface level way. You know how we always ask each other, you know, how we doing? We're like, oh, we're all right, we're good, we're fine, blah, blah, blah. It just kind of rolls off the tongue really naturally, right? So in maybe 1 to 3 words, just think about to yourselves, okay, what is it that you're feeling? Maybe it's 3 different sensations, maybe there's 3 different emotions. What is it that's here? What is it that's currently present? Okay, so if I think about it for myself, I'm currently feeling, I've got a bit of a headache going on, so there's some like fuzziness, there's like a bit of brain fog going on. I know this is more than 3 words, but but this is what I mean. You're just thinking things through in your own mind, okay? So for me, there's a bit of brain fog. There's, actually, the more I think about it, there's a bit of frustration. What else is here? And actually, I think if I'm really honest with myself, I'm actually just feeling a little bit tired. And that's okay. So brain fog. What's the second option? Goodness me. That's a perfect example of brain fog there. What did I say? Brain fog. I know I said tiredness at the end. What was the second word I said? Oh my God. Wow. Hang on. We're mid-malfunction. Bring it back. Bring it back. Where did it go? Frustration. Oh my God. Wow. This is what I mean. Anything's going to happen here, guys. I was literally just sat there being like, what the hell did I just say? What was those 3 words? Okay. So there we go. 3 words, or maybe just 1 or 2, however many you end up finding. What is it you're feeling today? Where are you currently at? And just have a few moments to kind of describe that to yourself. And I think actually in the way I did it just now, it kind of brought this kind of lightheartedness to it, right? Like, yes, there is some frustration. Yes, there is some tiredness, but that brain fog, it's okay. It's all right. These things are only temporary. And like I said, not every day is a sleigh. So whether you're feeling, kind of uplifted today, maybe you're feeling quite excited for the day, maybe you are also feeling quite tired, where are you at? I suppose if you said any words that are similar to me right now, on a kind of similar wavelength, it's just a little reminder, we're not broken, we're just on low battery, okay? It's almost like, when you put your phone in low power mode, yeah? It's like we're in that phase. It's like everything kind of feels, I don't know, maybe a little flat or perhaps just a little bit muted. Nothing feels bad, it's just muted, this kind of like grey area. And I'm always really conscious when I'm in this phase that I don't want to like fake energy. I don't want to force it because it just feels completely inauthentic. But that's where this frustration comes from, because, I like to be that person that's bringing this energy, that's lighting everything up. But it's a reminder to myself that, this grey area or this flat, muted feeling isn't a result of, any kind of laziness or lack of motivation. It's just my body asking for slowness. It's literally just that dip in my own hormones. It's that dip in estrogen, serotonin, a little dip, and that's okay. There'll be a rise again. I think when we allow ourselves to understand that, as women, we have these cycles, we move through these phases, is actually understanding that everything else is also in a cycle, okay? Everything else moves through its phases. Creativity has its own cycles too. For instance, I believe myself to be quite a creative being, so it's allowed me to understand that my own creativity also comes in cycles, right? And whether it aligns with my hormones or not, it might differ, it might be the same, it might align, maybe not, okay? But for instance, creativity has its own cycle. So there might be a phase where, there's this quiet reflection, this quiet observation that's needed, just so you don't have to be continuously pushing. You're just observing, you're just witnessing. And then you can take what you're witnessing, take what you're observing, and perhaps create something out of it a little bit later on. Or perhaps it's afterwards, you've maybe just created this beautiful thing, you've brought something to life, you've brought an idea to life, whether it's physical, literal, or anything else, anything in between. And it's then reflecting on afterwards, it's reflecting back on that process, it's admiring that process. So I suppose I just really wanted to create something real today. And I was thinking about it a lot, and I was thinking like, maybe talk about, savoring the softness, allowing yourself to take that step back, giving yourself permission. And I was going to deliver it in this, real soft way, very like yogic kind of way. And I was like, it just feels forced. So to be honest, I kind of just want to sit here and be like, honeys, she's in ugly slug mode, but we're still here. You know what I mean? And in that, it's just, again, allowing us to show up in this gentle, real, honest way, not needing to push through that brain fog or not needing to push through that frustration, but showing up actually with it, honouring that it's there. Sometimes we just got to let our body, our hormones do their thing. And I'm very confident that maybe even tomorrow, or of course in the next few days, I'll actually feel a bit brighter as a result of this. I'll feel much better for actually showing up in a way that feels authentic. And another thing that came to my mind is that in terms of authenticity, I didn't want to deliver this kind of seemingly perfectly packaged authenticity. You guys might remember a few episodes back, I spoke about the difference between performing intuition and intuitively performing. You know what I mean? There's that fine line, okay? Authenticity is when you can actually just tell the truth of where you're at, completely unfiltered, without needing to dress it up as something nicer, you know? We all feel like we need to show up in this perfect way, or like perfectly package things, and again, as I say, dress them up as to be something, or to look like something. And again, I think that just comes back to people pleasing, needing to satisfy another rather than actually satisfying our own needs. And this whole idea about what's perfect is going to be different to each and every single one of us. I've had a few thoughts about this word perfect, right? Some of you guys might have seen on Instagram over the weekend how I shared that I received a comment saying, you know, if you worked out a little bit more, you'd have the perfect body. Now, also bear in mind, I received that comment in this luteal phase, in this premenstrual state, and I could have absolutely flown off the handle. And yeah, that person could have received not only like Scorpio rage, but also PMS rage, you know what I mean? But I simply like responded just saying, I already have the perfect body. You know what I mean? Because what's perfect to me, I already have. You know, and that might be different to your view of perfect. So I think when we talk about showing up authentically, it's what's authentic to you, okay? Rather than feeling like we need to perfectly package it up for another, just let that authenticity feel perfect for you. And just coming back to that comment I received at the weekend, I don't want to send like any ill will to this person, because I don't think they genuinely didn't mean it in the way it came out at all. It was just poorly worded, poorly phrased, but there's also a bit of a language barrier. So I will give that person a lot of grace. And I know from some of the DMs I got afterwards, it did kind of anger a few people as well. I felt that love. Thank you so much. But it just reminds us again that a conversation still needs to be had about how we expect each other and ourselves to show up in this world. Again, it's an honouring of where we're at, where you're at in your cycle, and where you're at with your body, how you're feeling about your body, how you're feeling in that mind of yours. And it's just authentically showing up in a way that feels right for you. So everyone has their different view of perfect, okay? And when I responded and said, I already have the perfect body, again, that's perfect for me. My body keeps me moving. It allows me to create, allows me to communicate. What more, and really, what more could I ask of this body, right? This body carries me through these cycles, these phases, and I see my body change throughout these phases as well. I see my body as this continuous evolving thing, and in each phase, in each moment, she is perfect for what I need in that moment, okay? Even, you know, when it gets to that menstrual phase and we're probably feeling, I don't know, hella bloated, heavy, maybe our skin flares a little bit. That is my body's natural way of moving through this phase. And how beautiful it is that my body has that ability to move through this phase. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably one of the reasons why that comment, whilst I still, you know, decided to share it on social media, for the most part, it did actually just kind of roll off me. I didn't absorb it. I didn't actually really let it land too much, because I know what that person said wasn't true. It might have been true for them, sure, but they can think that what they want. I don't really care, to be honest. But what feels true for me, that is what matters, okay? So I suppose what I'm getting at here, how I'm trying to connect the dots, and I'll be honest, guys, I have no idea whether the dots are actually connecting in this episode. But what I'm trying to say is that however you show up, make sure it's enough for you, and make sure it's true for you, make sure it's authentic for you. Whether you are a woman who bleeds or does not. Again, everyone's moving through something. There's cycles in everything. There's phases in everything. Moving through these phases in the same way we move through the seasons, right? And sometimes it feels hella turbulent. Sometimes it feels like you're given whiplash. Sometimes you don't know whether you're coming and going, you're up, you're down, you're left, right. Sometimes you're hella motivated. Sometimes you're not motivated. But underneath all these layers of expectation, pressure, discipline, what lies beneath it all is this body, is this mind, is this breath that carries you through it all, that allows you to move through it all. And whilst there's perhaps phases where we wish to change things, maybe you want to change something about your body, maybe you want to change something about your thought process or your routine, okay, that's okay. As long as, again, you're changing it for yourself, you're choosing it for yourself, not from any other expectation, not from any other external pressure or expectation. So I hope these dots are connecting. I actually have no idea. I'm slightly concerned that I'm going to listen back to this episode now and be like, what on earth is all that waffle? But yeah, meet yourself exactly as you are. You don't owe anyone perfection. Okay? Oh, I actually quite like that. Kind of reminds me of Florence Given's first book title, Women Don't Owe You Pretty, which I actually haven't read. Maybe I should read it. But you don't owe anyone perfection. You don't owe anyone anything. You perhaps owe yourself a hell of a lot more. You owe yourself this acceptance, this patience, this trust, this faith. Yeah, you owe yourself so much more than whatever else it's you're giving out to other people. So, honeys, whether you are here with me in luteal PMS phase, or whether you are frolicking around in that happy ovulation phase, wherever you're at, meet yourself where you're at. And if there's resistance, if there's uncertainty, just meet it with a smile. Just give it a soft little wave. And again, beneath it all is you doing your best. Yeah. That's all that matters. All right, honeys, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. This might be a slightly shorter episode. Like I said, no idea if any of this made sense. I hope it did. I hope some of it has landed for you. If you want to know more about cyclical living and coming to understand your cycle a bit more, then feel free to pop me a message. I'll happily answer anything in another episode. But yeah, meet yourself at the truth of it all. There's so much to be found there. There's so much discovery to be made there, understanding your hormones, your nervous system. I think it's from that understanding that it makes showing up in this world just a little bit easier, And I think on that, I'm hoping to, with all of this in mind, I'm hoping to record an extra bonus ep of the podcast with a nervous system check-in, So again, allowing ourselves to understand what it is we're really experiencing, what it is we're really feeling through the lens of your nervous system. So if you are a Patreon honey, stay tuned for that one. It's going to go out very, very soon, hopefully, once motivation makes a reappearance. But yes, I will make sure that is up for you all. But other than that, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I hope this has made sense. I hope the dots have connected. I hope some of this has landed for you. And if you have any questions about cyclical living, understanding your cycle, please, pop me a DM. I'll either answer it there and then as best I can, or I might save it for another episode, because this is a topic that does fascinate me. And yeah, there's always something to be learned here. I'm always discovering more about myself, each new cycle, each new phase. It's like another piece of the puzzle kind of lands, But anyway, meet yourself where you're at, honeys. Share your unfiltered truth. And again, let everything ebb and flow exactly as it's meant to. That natural evolution of you. It's all happening right here, right now. All right, honeys, I love you loads. Go slay the day if you're feeling it, or if you want to curl up, then yeah, you can slay the day another time. It's all right. The rest of the world can wait for you until you are ready. All right, honeys, love you loads. I shall see you next time in the next app. Mwah!
All right,
right, stunners, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast. I hope it has left you feeling suitably inspired. And as always, please don't forget to rate and review, like and subscribe, all those lovely things, as not only does this help the podcast grow, but it also helps us to reach more beautiful souls who need to hear these conversations. And of course, come hang out with me over on Instagram and TikTok at LaurenAmyYD, and follow the pod at butterflyeffect.pod. You can also dive deeper into yoga, meditations, poetry, and so much more with me over on Patreon. Until next time, keep living a soft life loudly because you know you deserve it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah!